Welcome to the deep dive.
Oh.
Okay, let's try to unpack this. Imagine trying to grasp something that's, well, beyond time, beyond space. The very definition of existence itself. That's kind of our mission today. We're diving deep into a really fascinating stack of sources that challenge our understanding of what it even means to be. We're focusing on the concept of God's unique nature and his relationship to, well, everything else.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, truly, is how these texts paint a picture of a singular, self-existent entity, the ultimate reality, and how that view just shifts our perspective on creation itself. It really pushes us to think beyond our usual human-centric view of existence.
Exactly. So we're going to explore how these sources describe God as the only one who truly is, how he calls everything into being, even time and space. Think about that. And ultimately what that means for us and for the entire universe. It's quite a journey we're embarking on.
And the sources, they start with this really core, powerful concept: only God exists. And related to that, God alone is true. And this isn't just, a theological statement. It fundamentally redefines reality. If God alone is the ground of all being, then our own existence, our perceptions, they're fundamentally dependent, derivatives.
That is a huge shift in perspective. So if he's the very definition of reality, how did the sources illustrate that? How do they show it?
Oh, powerfully. Consider Exodus 3.14, right?
Yeah.
God declares, I am, W-H-O, I am.
Right, I am.
Think of it less as just a name and more as a declaration that he is existence itself, uncaused, utterly independent, the ultimate reality from which everything else springs. That's what absolute self-existence really signifies here.
And that suggests he's unchanging, doesn't it? Our sources really emphasize God as the unique, living, and crucially unchanging reality.
Yes.
Mark 12.29 reinforces he is the unique Lord.
Yeah.
And there's this idea, I think it's from Hebrews, that a perfect being cannot change. Because, well, if something changes, it implies it wasn't perfect before or it needed something new.
Right. Precisely. That unchanging nature is absolutely key. And you see Isaiah reinforcing this too, stating flat out there is no other God besides him, and that he alone created heaven and earth, establishing, all generations right from the beginning.
Okay, so if God alone truly is, then what about everything else? Us, the universe, what we see. The sources bring up this fascinating paradox. For us, non-existence is just, well, nothing. Blankness.
Right. Void.
But for God, who's infinite and sees all possibilities, these non-existent things, they're described as always sort of within him, like blueprints or concepts, just ready to be called into being.
That's a really crucial distinction. It implies God predetermined to call all things into being. It wasn't an afterthought. From his internal perspective, all of creation, life, death, angels, creatures, everything was always present in his intention, just waiting for its moment, waiting to emerge into what we perceive as existence.
And here's where it gets really mind-bending, challenging our everyday assumptions. This includes time and space themselves. So all created beings, life, death, us, we exist only within time and space. We can't conceive otherwise. But the sources are clear. Time and space, they are also creations. They exist within God.
That's right. God existed before time and space, and he sustains the infinite, like the psalm says, before the mountains were born, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God.
Wow.
And Isaiah adds that he's there at the beginning and the end simultaneously. It just completely reframes how we think about duration, about dimension.
It really makes you pause, doesn't it? Our human understanding is just incredibly limited when faced with ideas like these. The sources actually highlight that. They remind us we can only perceive and understand what God has chosen to reveal. It requires, well, immense humility when you approach concepts this profound, this infinite. We're finite minds trying to grasp infinity.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, the sources explain that death enters the picture through sin. And God's ultimate purpose, then, is to eliminate not just sin, but the very possibility of sin.
Okay. Right.
Leading to what they describe as a completed creation. A state where only righteous creatures will exist eternally, but still within time and space.
That paints a picture of ultimate transformation, ultimate restoration.
Yeah.
The sources mention 1 Corinthians, stating that the last enemy to be destroyed is death.
Yes. Which implies the abolition of not just death, but its root sin and all its consequences. And then comes that really profound implication, also from 1 Corinthians, that eventually God may be all in all.
All in all, what does that actually look like?
Well, imagine maybe a grand symphony, right? Where every instrument, every note ultimately resolves back into the single unified will and essence of the conductor. It's a vision of ultimate harmony where God's nature permeates and perfects every single aspect of existence.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've journeyed through some truly mind-bending ideas today. Existence, non-existence, an unchanging God who is somehow both the beginning and the end. These sources suggest a profound destiny for creation, a perfected state, where, as you said, God may be all in all.
And if we just take that one step further, it does raise a really important question, maybe a mystery. If creatures, even perfected ones, exist eternally within time and space, and God at the same time becomes all in all, how does that perpetual existence within creation reconcile with the absolute infinite nature of the Creator? It's a profound point about being and relationship that the sources really leave us to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. And for you, our listener, here's maybe a final provocative thought to mull over. If all of existence, even time and space as we know them, is ultimately a creation within an infinite self-existent being, what does that imply about the nature of the reality we perceive every single day? Does it change how you think about your own place in this grand unfolding scheme? Something to consider.